Good evening, everyone. This is Kim Verdensky, your composition instructor, and I am following up on writing for the social sciences. At this point, students should be successfully through the explore, the pre-write, and the draft lessons within the unit. So I'm going to go ahead and walk back through the expectations for the first 3 lessons within this unit. We'll look at the due dates for the final revision and talk about what should be happening. Okay, so we started with choosing a topic and composing a short social sciences reading 1 response. The goal is to synthesize with paraphrase or summary. So we started with this practice because that is the same goal for the formal essay. It is to synthesize information from sources through the use of paraphrase and summary, not all direct quote. So the practice assignments or the building assignments in the Explore and the Pre-Write unit are all intended to help students build the skills and the craft to be successful on the formal essay. So if we need to maybe review about quoting and paraphrasing and summarizing, please come back and look at the resources that were posted for you in the Explore session. Also in that Explore session, there was an additional link about peeling our paragraphs. So peeling our paragraphs is an acronym to help us remember that we need to have a clear point. We need to have evidence or an example. We need to explain that evidence as to how it supports our point, and then link it back to the overall purpose of our essay or link it to our next piece of evidence. So by peeling our processes in our paragraphs, we can make sure that we have a well-developed, focused paragraph. Also in the Explore unit, we discussed the guidelines of the essay. The guidelines are that this is a problem solution social science paper. The problem should be narrowed and regional or localized as much as possible so that it's able to be addressed in the 600 to 800 word expectation. The 600 to 800 word expectation only applies to the 4 main paragraphs of the essay. We are writing this essay in APA format, so the essay, when it is done, will include a title page. It will also include an abstract with keywords, and at the end of the essay, there will be a reference list. Okay, so the only content that's included in that word count is the 4 body paragraphs. The first paragraph, the introduction. That is where you start with a hook, you lead into a basic summary of the situation as to why it is a problem. That should be sourced information as well and include that in-text citation. Because we're not talking about our own ideas, we're talking about things that we've read about within our communities and within our lives. The introduction should build up to the thesis statement, and the thesis statement should incorporate a few key words that indicate what will come in the body paragraphs. So in addition to the guidelines in the Explore area, we did also have a finding solutions video and a candles in the sun exercise that included watching a music video and reflecting on how music and artists reflect on the concerns of our communities. That was a discussion forum. So please make sure in discussion forums that you are responding to a peer. That is part of the expectation, not just posting, but also responding to a peer. Next, we have exploring the topics, and this is where students were expected to choose a topic that they would then research and explain in this 600 to 800 word essay, identifying the social problem and discuss why you think it's a problem and why you think it would make a good problem solution essay. Okay, so that was only a 100 word post. Again, you should have responded to a peer. with critical but yet helpful feedback as to whether or not you think your peers have identified a sufficient topic. Do you think your peers have focused it well enough? Okay, so this is where we began our building process of this social science problem solution based essay. It was all at the end of September. Then in the beginning of October, we are starting our pre-write. Again, we had an exercise that is expecting us to use APA format and citation, expecting us to use our Peel processes. So you have the resources again listed to help students develop those tasks. Now, remember, we don't have a textbook. So the links and the resources that are posted within the unit are our textbook. It would be expected that students please review the content, email the instructor if they have any questions, and let me know how I can help you with the content. Okay. So we chose a different reading selection than what we had done for the social science reading 1. And we synthesized our evidence within the text of our paragraph. We included our in-text citation. Okay, so the PI method for quotes is similar to Peel, but it just reiterates the need to signal that information is coming from elsewhere, appropriately cite, and then explain. Okay, so review the PI method, and again, review APA in-text citation expectations. After that, there was a sample outline that I provided for you that was a very detailed document. The expectations of this sample outline were to really make sure that students were well focused. Yes, there is this simplified outline template that you were encouraged to fill in for the assignment. I encouraged everyone to take it a step further to make sure that it was a focused argument. So I'm going to scroll through this example and really talk again a little bit about what was happening here. Right, so we have a hook. The idea of the hook is that it draws in the audience. We provide some background information, and then we lead into a piece of evidence. Notice how the student has incorporated in-text citations. So this is key. From this student knows that they have a variety of sources being incorporated into each paragraph. That's key. That is the synthesis. That is the goal of this paper and this process. We're not just reading one source and then summarizing it and then moving on to the next. We're reading a variety of sources and blending together the information to develop our own new ideas of how we can solve some of our society's problems. Okay. So most of your sources aren't going to necessarily directly state the solution. If we had solutions, they wouldn't be problems anymore, right? So please make sure you've read a variety of sources. The minimum was 3 sources, and at least one of them should have been a peer-reviewed scholarly article. That meant that we utilized the databases through SPC and that it was a peer-reviewed scholarly journal. It's written by experts for experts. The idea of this is that we're exposing ourselves to complex text and looking at how other experts and other educated people write within this field. So that is our goal, to build our writing craft, our skill, okay? So the more detailed the student can make their outline, the easier it is to then develop a well-focused paragraph. You have to start with a topic sentence. That, of course, is the claim or your point, right? Your point of your appeal. Then we have evidence, and we have citations. We know we're going to explain this. And then the student recognized, I'm going to need an additional source here. So the student knows at the point of the outline that they need to go back and review some more content. The same process is then followed for solution 2, topic sentence, evidence, And again, we recognize that, okay, we have a couple sources, but we need a little bit more elaboration. The conclusion should be direct call to action. That's what we have here, this list of possible things that residents or citizens can do. So we know we're not going to use second person pronouns. So citizens of Florida should contact local representatives and government officials. So this is an outline, so it's not perfect. We would manipulate this information into sentence format for our actual draft. Then the student has listed their sources. All sources should be in alphabetical hanging indent following APA format. So the first two here might need a little modifications, a little editing, but the second two appear to follow APA formatting. Remember, always use OWL. OWL stands for Online Writing Lab with Purdue University. If we utilize OWL, it will provide the most up-to-date and reliable information. I'm going to go ahead and take a step back into our course content, and we just reviewed that sample outline. Students should have submitted their own outline to this Dropbox the first week of October. Then we move into the drafting week. So this is the step that should have just been completed within the last few days. We have a complete sample essay for students to review. We have a peer review with a peer review document. So this assignment is super important. This is asking students to critically read and respond to a peer's paper. If we're not completing the peer review document, we're not challenging ourselves to think critically about someone else's work. And the idea is that if we think critically about someone else's work, we will then be able to come back and reflect on our own work with a little bit more emphasis on the objective. So please make sure that in posting, you also respond to a peer and respond to a peer that has not already had a response provided. This should have been completed by October 9th. Today is the 13th, and a number of students are still needing to not only post, but also respond to a peer. It's really important that this happens so that we all have adequate time to move forward with our revisions. The same goes for the professional feedback. Okay? With so many schools and universities being online this semester, the tutors are working hard to keep up with all the demands. So the wait time can be a little bit longer than the preferred 12 to 24 hours. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to do it. That means that we need to plan a little bit more in advance to make sure that we get time to get our feedback. I am still willing to accept this assignment without any repercussions because it's very important that you get the feedback. I will also be looking at what has been submitted in the peer review area and making some suggestions for students to improve. However, please remember I'm not your editor, so I will make generalized references back to the rubric and the expectations. But I'm not necessarily going to edit your paper. So if you submit something and say, well, you didn't tell me that that was wrong, that is a possibility. So please make sure that if I make suggestions, such as avoiding second person, that you then look through the whole essay. Are there other areas where I might have used second person? Or if the suggestion has been made to limit your use of demonstrative pronouns, perhaps I need to go back and review the whole essay for the demonstrative pronouns, this, that, these, and those at the beginnings of my sentences. One of the most common suggestions that I make is to improve sentence style or syntax. So in your previous essay, if you received comments that talk about syntax, the suggestion is students work to combine sentences to create better flow. So you might want to go back to the Grammar Hammer lessons and look at the coordinating conjunctions and the compound and complex sentence styles. That all brings us to the social science essay submit. The due date has been moved to October 20th at 9 p.m. So I'm giving a little bit of extra time to get this final revision done, knowing that some people are still getting used to APA style, knowing that some students are still waiting on feedback from your tutors. So I have extended that just a little bit. Please make sure you review the calendars. All of the due dates for the rest of the semester are posted. We're at about that halfway point. So we need to start thinking about, are we progressing at the pace that we need to? Am I headed towards the grade that I would like to earn? Please go back and reread the comments in your humanities essay. I've made all the comments in Turnitin. I posted the tutorial on how to review feedback in Turnitin. Please take advantage of that feedback. Most all of the comment boxes include links to additional resources. So this is like the remediation instruction. The goal is that we grow and that we build a better means of communication in our written style. So if you did not earn the grade that you would have liked for the humanities essay, please make sure that we understand why, so that we can grow and improve to earn that desired level of success for the social science essay. And then ultimately for the natural science essay as well, which is the next unit. The natural science essay is the last formal essay of the semester. The remix project, which is kind of like the final exam, is not an essay. It does not require any more research, right? So these two essays, the social science that you're working on finishing up now, and the natural science essay, are really important and are the last formal writing assignments of the semester. So please make sure we're reviewing our content. You're taking notice of the resources that I provide as they are, again, our textbook. Okay, as always, please email me, use the little envelope if you need something. I'm happy to help however I can, but please reach out and let me know how I can assist. I appreciate you taking the time on reviewing the social science unit with me, and I look forward to everyone's submissions.